Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Diary of a Psychic Medium with me, Amber Amrine. Today we've got my soul brother, Rashad, for a really good conversation. This was a really good one, you guys. We went into some fascinating places. We explored the multiverse. We had conversations with Source, ETs, concepts of befriending the shadow, breaking out of linear time. So much. Here we go. Alrighty, so if you are new, I'm going to do my little spiel about this that I always do. Rashad is my soul brother, so we come from the same soul, as does a third person named Peepo. Essentially like twin flame, but it's not romantic, and there are three of us. We essentially are just, well, you'll hear all about it when we talk about it, but our soul is split so that we have more ground to cover, especially in this incarnation right now. We get into some serious nitty gritties in this conversation. This is a really good one. If you want to learn more about the background of Rashad, there are two other episodes in the past that you can go look at where we just discuss like our connection, well, his connection specifically to ETs, ET abductions, all of that. This episode is more exploring who our soul is. We're going more into the foundation, the framework of source energy, of the multiverse, as well as just there's so much. I'm just going to stop talking and let you get started. Here we go.
We're here. We're back.
We are. I want to definitely talk about our soul a bit after the revelations that came forward, and then anything else you want to talk about. I'm open to.
I wish I would have prepared. I got Amber questions for days. I'm like, Amber, I need you. Stuff is happening, right? So no, I mean it's cool. Like I said, we work pretty well off the cuff, and we've never been short of conversation ever.
Yeah.
Basically, until we talk for like 2 hours, and we're both like, we gotta go.
I remember we used to every week when I would babysit. One of the little guys I would babysit. Remember, we talked for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, just talking about every week.
And remember when I would have like gigs, I would have to drive like 2-3 hours. It would, for me, it would be like 1-2 in the morning. But for you, it'd be really late. And I guess you would be babysitting and you would talk me through the whole drive. It was, listen, but times have changed. Listen, Amber now, I call Amber, she be like, you got 10 minutes. She be like, Rashad, you got about 5-10 minutes. After that, I gotta go. I'm busy. I'm like, I know, I'm respectful. but we found out a lot now, right? So
Yes.
our talks they've gotten shorter and shorter, which is fine. It's great. Good stuff. All right. All right, so soul stuff. What you got? What you want to start with? You gonna make me lead this?
I'm gonna make you lead this.
This is, well, you know what? I'm not gonna say this is your podcast because I may use this for mine. So
there you go. This is our podcast. We are the same being.
All right, don't start nothing.
Uno reverse.
We'll do a dual podcast in a minute.
We should just do a podcast and just consistently change out who's talking but not say anything. Like it's just the same person.
Now we ain't that connected. Good Lord. We'd have to really be, although we were supposed to practice that, remember? Being telepathic with each other.
Oh yeah.
We never really, I think we tried like once. We were just like,
let's try now. What topic do I want to begin with? Just kidding.
Soul stuff. It's soul stuff, and see, it worked. It worked. All right, so I know by now, well, my audience may not know what's going on. Yours does, but my audience doesn't. So why don't you introduce this topic?
Okay, great. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go to the text that I sent you
Oh,
and I'll read it directly.
all right. That works.
Okay, so I don't remember what was going on exactly. Oh my gosh,
You had a
I had another weird revelation yesterday. I want to share it. Just remind me.
okay.
Um, okay, so I don't remember what the circumstances were. I don't know where I was or what I was doing. But I had this intense, oh, I remember. I really just wanted to really find out the depth of like my purpose here.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to channel and I was trying to go deeper in a way that I haven't before, where there's just no attachment to anything, just like flowing right into the heart of source.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I got the following download. This is speaking in first person because I was writing for myself, but obviously this applies for both of us. But I'm just gonna write it as or read it as I wrote it. So our soul is from many places, but it's very earthly. There's Lyran, Lumerian, Atlantis, Pleiadian, etc. Our soul has been present during all major times in human history. I watch, monitor, see through dimensions, timelines, and 3D structures. My soul has been sitting back for so long, studying and just allowing things to show me what they are by allowing them to be without judgment. And it's now time to share the information my soul has acquired. I'm a representative of the universe, trying things out here before implementing them elsewhere. Keeper of knowledge, creator of worlds, and run a few universes in the multiverse, which is why I can do instant healings and understand inner workings of things. Earth is the heart chakra of this universe, and healing must be done here. This is why Earth is humble, human, emotional, seeking balance, soft. I'm here to make it grow and find balance. The Milky Way is part of the heart. The universe is like the body, and planets are like cells. This is why I feel so motherly and need to care for everyone. There is magic in just being, and I'm trying to lead humanity back to simplicity. Earth is the battery pack for the universe, like the heart is for the body. That's why Earth is so important, and other beings are being called to be part of the healing. Unity, law of one, it's all in the heart.
Oh.
So, I guess when I was tuning in, I was trying to look for more starseed origins, and I know in the past we had tried to find where our soul came from, and it was at this weird place that controlled the multiverse. Do you remember that? Where we
Yes,
saw a lot of these, a lot of like Hindu deities
I remember.
randomly.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at that point seeing the multiverse as like this pool of just these little, like, how do I explain this? Almost like a grid.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is black. There's a grid almost like the ocean or something. And in each grid is like a different color or swirling vortex of sorts, which is essentially each representing a specific universe. So I had seen that then. And in this, I was trying to find more like what other incarnations our soul had had. And I kept seeing these flashes of like all of these different beings, a bunch of different stuff. But the main theme was this very like human, humble, very like uh, into feeling, like emotion and physical sensation. It's just more in that like
Yeah.
sensation kind of experiences. And then I came to Earth, and in the past, which I've spoken about previously before, I had that visual of our commander selves on this ship that came to the Earth and
I
decided to
remember that.
start reincarnating here. We
Yep.
came here, there was this like black tunnel or something with this like light, or it was just this weird thing. And then basically our process started here. So I started to more look through our lifetimes here, because in the past, I've only looked more at like the lifetimes that are beneficial, I guess, for me personally, or like looking
Sure.
at certain ones that like, oh, what's going to support me now, you know?
Sure.
And this time it was more okay, let's open it all up, all parts of my soul. Where has it been? And I started seeing these major times of like ancient Rome, ancient Egypt, during the times of Jesus, like all of these big moments in history. And I kept seeing our soul almost like standing back, just watching everybody
Yeah.
playing and engaging with each other. And it was more just seeing, I guess, how things played out, kind of more of an experimentation, just seeing how people react to things, the natural instincts they have in regards to it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, there's been this like things have gotten quicker where it's like fine tuning this processing and observing, where now it's time, like the database has been filled, and then now it's time to actually discuss it. And the energy feels different, and it almost feels like our energy has been kind of cloaked for so long in the background, and now it's really ready to like present itself and like put itself out there. There's this shift happening there where there's this need to share the information to the database, or even just show people
Mm-hmm.
how to connect to this database to receive the information for themselves. um there's also this sense of like being here, healing the earth. There's this need to practice and play. And this also happens with the observation so that we can incorporate that into other universes or into other planets or star
Sure.
systems. Or,
Sure.
there's just this sense of like, this is a playground, trying things out. How do beings react to different things? What are the different dynamics, and pushing that elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But it made a lot of sense for me personally, because I feel like one thing I love to do is just let people feel. I don't come into things from a sense of judgment. I just let people like feel
Mm-hmm.
however they feel about anything. I don't care if I have an all like differing view. It doesn't matter. There's just
Right.
this
Right.
like sense of like
Right.
it's all correct. It's all source. Who gives a fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Which I really resonated with. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. A bunch of questions in my head. I'm gonna apologize first. My voice, I've lost it. So you'll hear me, or you listeners will hear me clear my voice. As you can hear, it's kind of gone. You may see me drink water. I'm actually reading a book for someone, for a client. So I've been talking a lot because I've been reading for days and my voice is gone. So my
Oh my
apologies if y'all
gosh.
hear
Is
me
it like
clearing
a
my,
audiobook?
it's an audio book, right?
Oh, fun.
So I've been talking and talking and talking. So if I have to keep
Yeah.
clearing my voice, my apologies. But anyway, so I have a bunch of questions and I guess comments behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And even in your explanation of that really resonates with me as well. And I don't even know, I don't think I want to know where to start because I have a few different viewpoints, but I think I'll start here. So, and this may be interesting for listeners. So I did another podcast on Saturday, this past Saturday, with the woman Pamela Arlen, who initially, before I even met you, told me about the mantis,
Mm.
right? And she told me about the implants. So we did a podcast together on Saturday. We thought it would be cool to kind of go through that. And she, we connected with the same mantis that you connect with, the leader of this program, right? Whoever this, we call him the general, right? But anyway, we get to that later. So, um, oh God, where was I going with that? I was going somewhere with that, and it just left my mind. But anyway, it'll come back. But anyway, like you said, I've had a so she also did a trans channel with Jesus. We brought in Jesus, and just like you said, I had a life because I asked him. I said, "Have I had a life with you?" And he told me yes. And so I said, "Did we know each other?" He said, "No," but he said, "But our families knew each other." And me at that time, I was like he said, I was the leader or teacher of some mystery school. So he said you've always
Mm-hmm.
kind of been in that. He said your soul more from the earth has been in this in between state of like families who may be in different religions, but you've always held this middle ground of teaching and understanding between parties. That's been kind of your thing. He
Mm-hmm.
said, and it was the same thing for you during my time. He said we didn't. He said we knew kind of each other, but we didn't know each other. But our family, we were. It was two separate families. I was like, oh, that's
Mm-hmm.
pretty cool. So that was one thing when you had started talking there. I've had, I know I've had lives in Egypt, just like
Mm-hmm.
you told me before, and others. So kind of what you're saying, definitely resonated. One of my questions I had was, when you're looking at it from the oversoul view, right? When you're talking about we watching a universe, taking care of a universe from that standpoint, are you seeing it from, do you think that the three of us, is it one consciousness that is doing that at that level, or are we still kind of split
No.
into different consciousness?
It's one consciousness at that level. It's
Okay.
almost like because it almost feels like the three of us, well, the way it splits, people and us split earlier on, and then you and I split later down. So
Okay.
in regards to like maintenance, I feel like that first split is kind of like there to spread out to help with maintenance of the universe. So reincarnating in different places, exploring things, just making sure things are good to go. And then lower down, when it's all three of us, then just on our own path, that's more where it's like on the ground study,
Right.
observation, you
Right.
know?
Which is where we are now,
Right.
on the ground state observation. Okay. Um, and essentially we're collecting all this data for the one consciousness that is at that level.
Correct.
Um, for probably multiple reasons. Um,
Yes. So it's we're collecting that information. Let me see. It feels like it influences, it's like what works, what doesn't, what needs to be fixed, what isn't. It's like
right, you
maintaining
said
a
that.
computer, yeah,
Okay.
where it's like, are there viruses? How do these viruses come about? Do they need
Mm,
to be removed? Is there a reason for them? What about this? Is this out of balance? Why?
mm-hmm,
What's going
mm-hmm,
on? What's the
mm-hmm.
pattern? How is it flowing to move into something else? You know.
Okay. The question that comes to my mind, and maybe this is actually answerable, maybe it's not, is, you know, there are billions of people on this planet, right? So
Mm-hmm.
everyone is collecting data essentially for source, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like we're doing the same exact thing, but at that level, we're not exactly source, right? We're still a branch off,
Right.
but I guess we're using it in a more tangible way, I guess, than source would, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like the distinction between that one consciousness and source with the data we're gathering versus everybody else.
So it feels like with everybody else, it's more, and obviously everybody has their own mission, their own purpose, and
Of
this
course.
isn't going to be a one size fits all. But for the most part, with other people, there's this sense of them, it's like source experiencing itself, wanting to
Right.
experience everything, being in experience, learning, growing, just like being in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with us, it's more, we're here to see what that process is like and figure out what programs need to be fine tuned or like how it works. And I will say too, the energy that I'm getting right now is like they're dumbing it down incredibly in order to make this like easily digestible. So it's more complex than that, but
Oh,
essentially
okay.
we're just kind of more watching everybody do their thing and be
Yeah.
in the experience and engage with different kinds of energies to
Mm-hmm.
then get a better idea of what's going on and what works, what doesn't, or just how things flow. We're more like analyzing it.
Right. So this, what we're analyzing is actually because obviously we have no clue of what another universe could be like, right?
Hmm.
So if we're using this information to be tangible in another universe, is that correct? Possibly?
Somewhat.
Um,
So all of the different universes operate very different. They have a different, it's like DNA.
mm-hmm,
Even just changing one strand of DNA greatly affects how our body functions or
mm-hmm,
how we develop, you know?
mm-hmm,
Um, so all of the different multiverses have a very different, I guess, genetic code, if you want to call it that. So
mm-hmm.
it operates very different, but by kind of, and even like the deep down principles of like all of one law of attraction, it's like there
Right.
are different formulas available to those other universes that just
Mm-hmm.
don't like
Don't.
make sense with those, or it's like that's just our formula here. And it's just kind of seeing the different balances to figure out like, oh, maybe we can add a little bit of that over here, or
Right.
this area is kind of going out of hand, we need to like open things up a little bit more so it can keep flowing. There's this very delicate balance and structure
Mm-hmm.
to keep things ebbing and flowing. It's this constant collaboration, but in a collaboration both parties are present. In this physical world on earth, we are collaborative with the universe, but we have a little bit more say as to how much that percentage is that it kind of steps in, which is the point here. It's like a playground to kind of try on different formulas and different ways of collaborating. Elsewhere in the universe, it's pretty 50-50. So source has to be present and in the flow with whatever energies are present in
Mm-hmm.
order for that collaboration to be balanced and to work together.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You sell a lot. But that's cool. So is there, so quick question. Are you in a sense channeling or connecting with that one consciousness, or you just kind of like
Yeah.
right now, or you like pulling it just kind of from the field?
No, I'm channeling it because
Okay.
it's showing me visuals. So
Okay.
it's speaking to me.
Okay. So, and this may be a dumb question, but it may not be. So, is there some cohesion between the different universes? Like, does one universe directly affect another universe, and that directly affects another one? Or are they all independent and completely operate independent?
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
I
The
know.
visual that I'm getting, I'm seeing the grid lines, and it's kind of like it's free to do whatever it wants as long as it stays within the grid lines. And that's not the right verbiage, but again, that's the simplest way to kind of get the point across.
Okay.
It feels like it's almost like a makeup palette, how each like eyeshadow or something is in its own special little square. And
Understood.
sometimes the dust or whatever can kind of intermingle, but
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, it's in the confines of its little square. So the same as even our energetic field, there are various layers, and the various layers of our energy field are associated with each of the chakras. There is exchange of energy between the different chakras, between the various layers of our energy field, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
if our, but it's like to a certain extent, like we can have a blocked root, but a very open crown, but it's still like they are still somewhat having a pull on each other, even
Sure.
though they're in opposing states of being. It feels similar to that, where there can be some overflow. And in this grid, it's almost like it's again, this is just simplified version, but the place that they are in, like the order in which they are laid out on this grid, is also very purposeful, where it's like a gradient. There's a specific energy which kind of matches this one, and then it kind of goes a little bit more over here, and then this, it's this
Mm-hmm.
progression. So there is some intermingling a little bit, but for the most part, it stays within the confines.
Got it. And I smile a little bit because in the only preparation that I did for this, I have something that I'm going to read because it came to me and I guess it was supposed to be part of our conversation, right? I
Mm.
just knew, so I found it, and because this was something that I had studied a long time ago. But I have a question before I get into that. So if you're talking about, for simple terms, right, the tray of
Yeah.
different universes and things of that nature, but it is in some form of cohesion within, the different pieces of makeup are in a tray, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're being bound by something,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's imagine that's in your hand, right? And
Mm-hmm.
all we know of the universe and the different universes. So this is a mind stretcher here, but what the hell is on the outside of all of these
Oh
universes?
shit.
That's what I'm saying. This is a mind stretcher. What is outside? What is the and it's not physical, but what is the space that is outside of the universes? Because the universes, that mind you, you just told me that these universes are in some sort of cohesive thing.
Yeah.
Right now, if we step away from that because we can observe that, then what the hell are we in?
So what I saw when you said that, as I said, it almost looks like an ocean or this like infinite
Mm-hmm.
land of all of these different little trays. And I want to say too, the confines of each tray is essentially source. It's essentially that like pure love. That's
Right.
what is
Yep.
the through line between all. There's this black top, almost like the sky is black or something. When you asked me that and I zoomed out, this whole thing was almost like it became this black ball. So it's like a sphere. And then I
Mm-hmm.
went into this white space.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Oh,
nothing, it's just white.
okay. Just nothing there, just white.
Let me see if there's anything I can pick up on. Oh, it's getting weird. It was
Yeah.
white, and then I saw a door, and then it was almost like this camera or whatever, like came through the door, but like backwards, where I was like reversing in through the door, and then the door closed, and then I saw these weird like grids, shapes, these lit up like rectangles that like some are breaking off, like it's just these weird geometric shapes that are like breaking off. It's getting weird. I
Mm,
don't know what this is. It feels
okay.
very vast. For some reason I'm still going backwards through it.
Mm,
And it's moving very fast, where I have like butterflies in my stomach.
mm.
And it just goes on forever.
Whoa.
I'm trying to see. I'm just going through this room. It almost looks like I feel like I'm on a rolling chair, and the floor is like a grid floor, like a marble or tiled. It's tiled.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm trying to see if I can like manifest something in here, like if there's room to just like project things, and it's not working.
Okay.
I heard almost this like laugh, like, oh, you human.
You're not
um,
supposed to be here anyway.
yeah. um, what is that though? It feels
Right.
like Santa Claus. I'm
Uh,
seeing this like old man, long white beard, long white hair, but he's making it very clear that I'm seeing him that way because that's how I associate this energy. Um, because it feels like Santa Claus or like Father Time, there's this sense of like it being in control of everything, but it's a very warm,
okay.
humble, loving energy. Um, I asked who it was, and he said, I am you. So I'm assuming this is some sort of like extension of source. It's
Right.
almost like I feel like it's like when you take your kid to work day and it's like, look at this, isn't this cool? And you're like showing them the different offices and it's like something stupid, and it's just like, oh, you want to see something cool? Look at this. Wow.
Eh, so he said he is us.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's ask him how close he is to source, to being.
He's laughing again. I feel like it is source, or it's an extension of it's a human, it's source, but it's coming through in a way that's
Healing
relatable to
collective.
me. I'm seeing um the room went white again, and I'm seeing almost this like it's the same. So the door I saw was this like light brown wood, like a blonde wood, and I'm seeing the same thing now coming from like a ceiling. I can't
Hmm.
see the ceiling, but I just see this like staircase down, and there's a light, and everything else in the room is white. um
Okay.
Let me see. I'm gonna go up the staircase. So at this point now I'm moving forward instead of backwards. I feel like I'm spinning though. What ooh. As I project myself walking up the staircase, my like body is spiraling in a circle.
Mm.
Everything's very distorted. I come up here, it's an attic. I'm feeling the energy of an old woman. This attic looks familiar. From
Maybe, yeah, it's playing off of what you
yeah,
already
it's
know.
yeah, it's trying to get what is this attic? It's dusty. I'm feeling an old woman. Why is this? I don't know why it's so familiar. But
Mm.
there's joy in it. I'm feeling this like movement, this warmth in my solar plexus. I'm seeing boxes. Open a box, picture frames. The picture in the picture frame keeps distorting because my brain is trying to project something or like imagine what
Yeah.
would be there, and it's like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
it's not, this isn't you, this is something else. So the picture keeps distorting.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a connection though to my childhood, but then it keeps going to, I keep seeing like all of my past generations as like a kid, but the like women specifically, like all of the women in my lineage as a child. um okay, and then now it's going to the men, but the men as like young adults for some reason.
Mm.
um and then I saw this like red paint over all of it, like a like painting on a table. So the depth of what I'm looking at has ceased, and this
Wow.
red paint covered everything. So now that's the new like floor, the
Wow.
ground. Red. Everything's red.
Red.
The floor's painted red. It's still a white room. It's tiles. Um,
Boy. I
I'm
feel
yeah.
I feel like this is something that we will figure out even over time, kind of, because this is what I sense or kind of feel like we were really expansive in terms of going higher, but then it's like almost went into a circle, like back down
That's
to,
exactly what I was just about to say. I
right.
saw the tile and I sat down, and then all of a sudden the tile started changing. It went to like blue and green, and it started flipping around. And as you were
Hmm.
talking, I started spinning. Everything was white, and then I saw this little like I was connected to somebody's like uterus, like I'm a little embryo.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm trying to interpret that as right there is we're trying to get somewhere and keep going,
Yeah,
and maybe it's just, it's like you're trying to get somewhere, but it comes right back to you, right? It comes
yeah,
back to who you are, which is extremely interesting. But I'm trying to stretch our our consciousness and our depth perception of going to a finality, right? This final place of we're going to
yeah,
see something, but it's like, well, we're coming right back to you. And it seems like that's what it just did almost. And it's
yeah.
extremely interesting. So while you're, so you said so you kept bringing up this grid, but you were like, not really, but kind of, right? And, right, it's structured a certain way. So I'm not going to say where I've gotten this information, but I saw it a long time ago, and I've learned and learned, and it's about the construction of the universe. All
Hmm.
right, so I'm going to read you something, and I'm actually sending it. I may have sent this to you years ago. So I'm going to read this, and it's called the Cosmic Lattice. Okay.
Hmm.
And it was channeled information about specifically about how the universe was constructed or created. Essentially,
Mm,
not from a big bang, right? So this is a small piece, and I kind of pieced a few sentences together to make it make sense.
mm,
The cosmic lattice has symmetry. It has symmetry, but it's not a grid. You may think it is, but kind of what you were saying. There
yeah.
are strings of darkness that form this symmetry. Straight
Mm,
lines of darkness will be evident, giving the universe direction, giving it symmetry, allowing for a mystery to develop of how such a thing could be. The cosmic lattice has no visible light, even though it is the very essence of light. It's so much more, but I just kind of picked that and was like, so I
oh,
was gonna,
interesting.
yeah, I was gonna kind of,
Oh, that's so interesting because at the grids I saw, yeah, it was black. It was black, and the grids in between the universes were black, and then I pulled out and it was white. It's like it
it,
itself
it
is
is the
darkness. Yeah, that's so weird.
look how much we are in the like we just this stuff just keeps unfolding and we find the same information. This is so crazy. So I am wondering, like, I think I was talking about the mantis to begin to ask different questions of ET because we're on the universe topic, how they actually view it and do they have the depth enough to be able to see this flip side, these dark symmetry lines of the universe, right? Can they actually see that, or do they not even really have that perception? But I know it probably depends on the different extraterrestrial, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Do you want me to ask the mantis?
yeah. So the name, she actually got a name, and and I want to say you've said it before, right? The name she said it's a female energy. The mantis, she is the fleet commander of this program, and she said her name is ex extec extecrit. She
Oh,
says
that
she
sounds familiar. Yeah, it's those,
remember,
yeah.
and she was like,
Those
it's
weird names.
extecoric, extecoric, or something weird like that. She was like, have fun saying that, right? And we got to talk to X correct. So maybe see if you can feel that is the same person. It's trippy, isn't it? I see you laughing because we get the same information everywhere. So anyway, I'm not sure if that the general is X correct or not that we used to talk to sometimes.
Ooh, the energy is nice and warm, very grounded.
Or X
Feels
correct?
very, yeah, I feel like
Yes.
it usually
Very
comes through. I think in the past it would come through a little bit more like,
stern. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm the boss. Like,
Yes.
this is what we're doing,
Yes.
short and sweet. And now it's
Yes.
like, oh, hey, we're equals.
That is
Very different.
exactly how she felt when I talked to her on Saturday. Do you think this is someone else that we've never talked to?
No, what I'm feeling is an elevator where I'm almost feeling because before the energy would be up over my head,
Mm-hmm.
coming down, they're talking down. And
Mm-hmm.
now I feel it's like at eye level.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, X. And I'm gonna call you X because I'm not gonna keep continue trying to say X correct. I'm sorry. Uh, but thank you for. I know I just talked to you. I know for me it's Saturday. For you it was probably an hour ago because time is not relevant for you, right? But um, nice to. Do you remember me, X? Hopefully she has a sense of humor. Um, thank you for joining us me again. And my question to you is talking about we've been discussing about this cosmic lattice, right? The symmetry of a universe. It, it I guess if you can see it at a certain way, it has symmetry, which means in it has lines, right? It has some form of geometry. And we've been told that this symmetry is actually black lines. It's not made of light, but it's the very essence of light. So our question is, can you see the symmetry of the universe the way it's actually constructed? Can you see these lines of demarcation?
I feel like they can. I'm trying to see like put like see through their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing these fine lines. I will say the way that color is perceived is different
Different. Okay.
than us. So
Yeah.
they pick up on a lot more. Almost like it almost is like heat signatures. Not that it's more than that, but that's kind of
Uh,
just like energetic signatures. Like it's they see a significant amount more, where I even feel them
hmm.
like seeing the different sheets um of the different dimensions, and they just like walk through kind of into
Mm.
whichever one they want. But um yeah, I'm seeing these little silky lines that aren't always there, but it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
the same way how we kind of perceive an aura, how sometimes you'll just see it in the corner of your eye.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
that.
Ah, okay. So do they use them for anything specific? Like for traveling along for guidance or not? No.
Do they use it like the lines?
Yeah. Do they use it for anything
Um,
specific like guidance for traveling, or that's not how it works?
no, it doesn't feel like it's really uh it's
Necessary.
not necessary for most of their stuff. I do feel like sometimes they tune in, it almost feels like an invigoration of like source energy or something.
Hmm.
It almost feels like personal maintenance. I'm seeing almost like how a hummingbird puts its little nose in nectar and like drinks it. I'm seeing some sort of engagement with it to like
Ooh,
align with it or receive some sort of, you
some
know,
sort of energy. Ooh,
yeah.
okay. So you're giving me the goosebumps. And I say this because in this article, it talks about the human and us, eventually, or we can, tapping into this grid, and we're supposed to,
Oh, interesting.
and utilizing it for, what's the word I'm looking for? Unimaginable energy. Like
Ah,
like
yeah.
the biggest energy source there is within this lattice, is what is being called a lattice,
Hmm.
right? And once we can learn how to tap into that, then unlimited power or unlimited source, unlimited whatever we need is within that. So we can
Hmm.
you but we have not learned how to tap into it yet.
That makes sense.
And it's there. It's not like okay, it's in space and that the lines start in space. No, this universe is within everything,
Yeah.
right? So it's
Yeah.
made up of everything. So it's literally right in front of you. It's all around us. Um, but learning how to tap into it has to do with balancing the node and the null of this honeycomb shape, and it gets very technical. But anyway,
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that makes sense because I'm seeing this sense of like it's like plugging into a power outlet or something. So
mm,
it feels like they don't need it all the time.
sure,
Just it's like we don't need to constantly eat food.
sure,
We just do it for energy real quick.
mm,
Or like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. So that brings up a question. So when they're looking at us and like we're meditating and we're tapping into ourselves, source, or whatever, ask her, it's almost, are we tapping into that grid or are we tapping more into just kind of source energy? And is there any kind of distinction between the two? You know what I'm saying? Do you get what
We
I'm?
don't have the sometimes people get close or they have been able to, but
Okay.
with the way our bodies are constructed right now, it's like our bodies wouldn't even know what to do with
Mm,
that information. That's where it's important to really activate our DNA and our cells. And once there's more space within them, to digest and absorb pure energy, then there's going to be a lot more engagement, and we're getting close. Many more people are there, but it's still such a tiny percentage when looking at the collective as a whole. We're getting there.
Okay.
We're getting there. What I'm also feeling, before I forget, I'm also seeing with these grid lines, I'm seeing a ship, and it's almost like there's some sort of crystal or something. It's like, it looks like it's like a light blue color, very, very, very light, where it's almost white. And I'm seeing it almost like moving above, hovering over these grid lines. So I feel like they may also use it for travel.
Okay. Which what I was thinking, kind of like my initial question, right? Are they
Yeah.
using it for any kind of guidance or travel or, right? Like,
It's weird though, because I see that, but then when you ask the question, the energy is very different.
yeah.
So I feel like they don't rely on it, is
Okay.
the answer. It's not, that's not their only, that's not their like, uh, it's like right now for us, in order to really travel far distances, we have to rely on the wheel on the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's just no way around it for the most part. It's just the
Yeah.
wheel
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
ground.
Yeah.
It's not like that for them. It's not like a railway or something that they're
Understood.
confined to. There's just maybe just like boosts up that crystal that can then like propel them wherever. I'm not really sure. I'm not really gaining clarity, but there is a distinction between the question of, do you need it for XYZ versus this is what we do with it. So it feels secondary in a way.
Okay, that makes sense. I got it. Um, and while you touched on the DNA thing, and I want to make sure that I understood this from my last conversation with you, X, correct? I don't know why I'm gonna keep trying to say your real name. I keep trying to get it. Um, she was saying that, and I was been looking at this a little bit differently, Amber, in terms of everything that I've learned from some of myself personally right now with the mantis. Um, I was looking at it like, right, I have myself, my own DNA and everything, and the mantis are just, and maybe and she can help verify this. The mantis are just upping my DNA, right? Like they're enhancing it, they're doing it. Da, da, da. But see, what she was saying on Saturday was, she was basically saying like the Mantis Collective is, and I'm sorry to break the thought, but I kind of remember you actually telling me this right once, and it's just a memory that came quick, that I hold a large percentage of Mantis DNA Collective, and it's so right. So my incarnation right now has a lot to do with the mixture of the Mantis Collective and human DNA, and making and trying to make that work on
Mm,
Earth, just like people are half Lyrian. You got Pleiade people that are that have
yeah.
what I'm saying. But me specifically, and remember we talked about. Remember they had told us before that this is new for me. They're trying something new, right?
Yeah.
And what that trying new is, I'm coming from this massive collective in this lifetime, and they're combining the Mantis DNA and human DNA, which essentially has made me.
Mm.
I'm trying to, am I getting that correct?
Let me see. I am feeling this sense of like holding back. So I feel like there's more to it, or it's a little bit more complicated than that. But
Okay.
in,
And
yeah, in theory, or like essentially, yeah. Let me see what else comes forward. What it feels like, I'm seeing something about like regeneration, or there's something like their bodies regenerate a certain way, or there's like certain skills or just natural functioning things that we don't have, and it
mm-hmm.
almost feels like they're trying to, like, your body is trying to operate in that way, or like there's specific aspects of their DNA that is trying to work out in the physical body. Because what I got is like a human mantis hybrid. That's not new technology.
Okay.
That's not
Sure.
hard.
Right.
In your case, there's something deeper
Okay.
about it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it feels like physically having the benefits of the mantis body, mixing that in the human body. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what they're trying out
Yeah.
to see. I got it. Understood. And we kind of we asked her, like I asked her, like, how's it going? And she said she kind of went, eh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's going okay. So we got some hiccups, but it's
Yeah, it feels weird because it's almost like our bodies are still so, oh, what's the word? Like archaic. There's this weird duality in our body where there's this like
yeah,
ancient wisdom, this like power, but
yeah.
then it's like all of this power in a very primitive
Hmm.
encasing.
Yeah,
So it's trying to play more on that like intense, pure wisdom,
yeah.
but still within the primitive casing. Like, can we have them work together? Which kind
Mm,
of causes a bit of an imbalance and makes it a little bit tricky because
mm,
the primitive side wants everything laid out. It wants to know it all. It just wants to see things through, which
right,
causes resistance because it wants all the answers instead of to just surrender and trust.
right.
So it's like trying to figure out ways even to like physically, I don't know, express the shifts in a way so that the primitive side feels like it's like cool with it, so that
Yeah,
it's almost like the primitive side is the brain. It's got
right.
all of this power, but it like doesn't know what to do with it. And so there are things like listen to frequencies or like do this or try this. It's like, oh, this
Yeah,
is something, this is a tool
yeah,
for me to open up to this computer and like know how to Google properly or like what
yeah,
files to download. But it's like it's almost like too stupid. That's not the right word, but it's too simple minded, to like fully know the extent of the computer it's working with. So
right.
that's what they're trying to
Trying
figure
to,
out.
mm, that sounds complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really complex. And just what I got out of that conversation with her was, because me, I'll poke and I'll pry, and I'm trying to get something like tangible. And essentially, she just let me know like everything, and the same thing you've been telling me as of lately. Whatever you want to happen, you have to make it happen now, right? Like
Hmm.
we've done so much, and right. I asked her a specific question. I don't remember exactly what it was now, and her response was, "Well, how would you like to see that happen?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know, right?" But I came from the perspective of, listen, you gave me these implants, right? You've been coming to me my entire life, right? You've been you, right? And so from my human perspective, I'm now expecting you to make this grand, whatever you put in me to make this happen. And she was like, no, because that would be impeding on one, your free will, right? But it's more about you, right? You have to now take everything and make something of it in this world. That is like really the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is not for you to just be on the ship sitting around with us drinking tea, right? That's
Yeah.
imaginary, right? Like you may have to kind of get that out of your head. And that's what I've been holding on to
Mm.
and trying to figure out like what am I going to do with all of this that I'm like what almost in a sense, well, why do I know all of this stuff? And what am I going to do with it, right? Do I just tell
Yeah.
people? Do I make a podcast? Do I do it right?
Yeah.
And she was just basically like, it's up to you, right? You're here to change the world exactly from what you said when we first started this podcast, right? To begin to let people know how to tap into themselves. This is what this is all about, along with us doing experiments on you and your body and stuff, right? But your brain is tangibly waiting for this thing, right? And it's like you're looking to us to tangibly make this thing happen. But ultimately, it's up to you to create these things now for yourself to happen, and everything will begin to
Yeah.
line up. And I was like, damn, sounds like a lot of work on my side. Like, right, like damn.
You
But
just
yeah,
want your ship and your red button to
I
press,
do.
have
I,
some confetti.
because remember that's what they told me I would get. They told me they made me my own personal flying saucer is somewhere above Earth, and they told me I had this button I could press and something would light up in confetti. And right, I felt really good about that, and I held on to that memory. I want my ship. I asked her, is my ship still available? I want it.
I feel it. I feel it.
No way.
Yeah,
No
I
way.
feel it.
You see my face, right? I want my ship. I want to get in it. I want to do things. Is that really still up to me? Excrete. Right. Told you, I'm going to keep trying till I get it. she, and she's going to show up in my room and smack me on the back of my head like I've had enough of you. Right? Oh my God.
It does feel like it's available, and I'm seeing like like a little chair
Oh, that's so
just for
cute.
you to strap yourself in on,
See what
but
I'm
you
saying?
have to project yourself into it. It's there for you.
I don't
You just got to project
I don't
yourself
want to
in.
project myself. I want you to put me there, right? I want you to I want you to make me disappear from my house and put me there physically. I know that's what I'm looking for, and I know that's not realistic. I get it. I mean, it is realistic if they wanted to, but she did explain again that there are, just like you said before, there are parts of my brain that are not ready for that,
Yeah.
right? It's just not. And I keep saying it, like you've said before also, they they are, she said it a lot. She said they have to protect me, right?
Yeah.
She said there is a huge protection mechanism in place
Yeah.
and they cannot screw that up.
Yeah. Just for your button, unfortunately.
Okay. Anyway, we've took people on a tangent, and it's all, I'm not trying to make it all about me, but
I had this crazy thing happen yesterday.
hmm
I don't know what initiated it. I think I had a reading in the morning. I did a session or something. I'm not sure. Oh, I remember what it is. On my Patreon, I'm doing like a little deep dive into the different chakras. And I felt this need to like really dive in and see what's there. I think this thing had come up in a session from Saturday where this client of mine, her energy was very much like she's just here to be a conduit of this very specific frequency. Like it just activates stuff. All she has to do is literally be here. How she wants life to work, it really doesn't matter. She just needs to be present. So with that, it's like choose your own adventure. If you want to be sick, be sick. If you want to feel good, feel good. If you even want to hop back and forth or like add this thing, add that thing, like it's literally up to you. And the message was essentially like it could happen very spontaneous or very instant.
So yeah.
And in the download I received, there was this sense too, and I've felt this a lot and I've been told this a lot, but there's this sense of being able to do like instant healings or instant shifts. And I felt this need yesterday, just with all of this stuff, to really like figure that out. And I was sitting here and I started to all of a sudden like go through the different layers of my energy field or something. It was really weird, but it was
Oh,
like
cool.
that grid again. I saw this
hmm
grid and I saw these like this like lit up part in the body, and then it was like this very weird visual thing of like going there and just taking it off and letting it go. And I don't know, it's almost like detaching and away from the physical body and just going to like the energetic grid and just being like, decorate it however you want, you know?
Oh.
And I just learned how to ride a bike on Saturday.
Whoa, wait. We're not just going what we're not gonna do is just fly. You're not gonna say that and just move on. Okay. You just learned how to ride a bike this Saturday.
Yes, 2 days ago.
And you live in California, the sunny state of California, where there's bike riders and skateboarders everywhere.
Yeah, that's correct. And now I can join them.
And Venice Beach is how far from you?
It's literally like 2 cities over.
Okay, you keep going.
So I learned how to ride a bike on Saturday. So yesterday I was like, let me go and practice again. And while I was walking, I felt the need to tune into like the grid of Earth and like heal her or something like that, or like just be like, oh, let me apply it to other things.
Nice.
And in doing that, I healed it, but then there was this like deep sadness or just this very heavy energy, and it almost came looking like you know Bowser from Mario, the video game Mario.
Yeah, Mario, Luigi, and
Yeah.
mushroom.
So Bowser, the like big, what is he, like a turtle guy or something? He's like the big like.
Oh, the big thing that throws the spikes at the end of the game and all that.
Yeah.
It jumps and throws stuff. It's got like a turtle back with spikes on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I saw something like that, like in the heart of the planet, and I started talking to it. And I feel like it definitely seemed to be representative of like all of this like darkness that's just on Earth and here, and you know.
Yeah.
And I was talking to it, and it's like, okay, well, if I can just like remove it, but it's not wanting to be removed, or it's not meant to be removed. It's almost like I can't grab it like I could grab the other things to release. Let me talk to it and figure out why it's here.
Yeah.
And it ended up turning into this like psychological processing on my own part. But again, as we saw, it's like if we look for something else, it always comes back to us. And there was this deeper message of the darkness is there to make us come into ourselves more, to wake us up more.
Sure.
If there is stuff happening outside, we tend to go into our community. If I don't know, if our water and our food is being poisoned or something, we start to become more self-sufficient and grow our own food or like trade. You know, it's like it comes back into ourselves. Nothing is actually attacking us. It's forcing us to come into our power. And there was this sense of like conversing with it and almost like having to really fully embrace the shadow, which I've been working on, but there's that like little edge of like, well, why is there murder? Why is there abuse? Why does that have to exist? I get it in essence, but like, isn't there another way? You know? And the thing that kept coming in too, because there were so many like heavy energies and it felt like people just in like this hell. And he was basically saying like, this planet, you have full autonomy to do whatever you want. Some people, some energies really like the shitty stuff. They just do. That's just how it is. They just enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Because in my head, even if I connect to like with this, a heavy energy, I want to like, oh, let's bring it into light. Let's shift it. And it's like, no, this is my home. Wow. I have a purpose here. There's a greater purpose for me, and that's where my light is. And it was this very interesting thing. But the issue with the collective right now is people don't realize they have that choice. If a certain bloodline has consistently been in the depths of discomfort, we are born thinking, or we're born to we're like, it feels safe. It's normalized. You know, it's normalized. This is safe. This is just how life is.
Right.
You don't have to take that if you don't want it. If you want it, fine,
Facts. Facts.
but you don't have to. And I think right now there's this sense of like showing people that they actually have the choice. If they want to go on the scenic route and just have things easy breezy beautiful, great. If they want to have a harder way from point A to B, fine. If they never want to get to point B, fine. It's inevitable, you know, but it's going to be a longer route, or it's going to curl kind of weird, because no matter what, things are moving forward. But there's this very interesting sense of, yeah, just really allowing the shadow, I guess, to be the shadow, and seeing that it's not actually bad. It has a bigger purpose.
Absolutely. And that brings me essentially to the yin and yang symbol,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, it's the black, then you have the white side of it, and then you have the line in the middle. So you have the, I'm sorry, right? You have the black. So you have you have what, three or four things going on just in that yin yang single
Yeah.
symbol. You have the black, and then you have the white side. And then you and then you have the white dot on the in the black side. And you have the black dot within the white side. And then you have the line that separates the black side and the white side, right? So essentially, for those who, I'm sure everybody knows what the symbol is now, right? But just to say it, right, you have the good and the bad and the good. And
Mm-hmm.
then you have that middle line of observance, or whatever you want to call it, that is completely neutral to it all,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, what you just said was kind of what I've learned throughout my life journey, of course, is you need the bad. It sucks, and you don't want to see things happen to people because they're humans, and you get to a certain point where you no longer enjoy that bad. You actually want to enjoy the good. So you want everybody to experience what you are experiencing and what you're learning, which ultimately takes you away from the so-called bad, right?
Yeah.
But that's needed because, like you said, some people actually enjoy it, whether they think they do or not. They enjoy that, and it's used for a purpose to help people who don't want it go the other way.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense. Um, yeah, it's interesting that you would be able to tap into that energy within the earth that doesn't want to kind of move.
Yeah, it was really interesting. And I feel like it really forced me, I guess, to surrender more to, I think, because our soul is meant to almost be that neutral line. It is that line,
Mm-hmm.
observing and providing the like boundary, or the, you know what I'm saying? It's like holding it together in a way. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like in my head, I still have this active, like, fight for the good, or I don't know, you know, and it's kind of like,
Yeah.
no, that's not even what we're talking
Mm.
about. Like, your job is to literally be neutral, and to understand that there is power in both, and to maintain that, and to let people see that and be able to move through each side without feeling at the mercy of either.
Now, when you say that often, are you speaking more from that one consciousness that which incorporates us all, or from your perspective of the split?
When I
What
say
do you
what?
think?
That we're meant to.
Well, I know we talked about um, observing the observance of of the planet from the one consciousness, right?
Yes,
Okay. And you
that
said some,
is still active in our incarnation here. We're
okay, that's,
more on the ground, but we still like, that still
yeah,
holds true, you know?
yeah, yeah. That's
It's almost
very,
like we're meant to usher people into that database. We're meant to share that information, you know?
you think we're close to being finished? Think we got enough info?
I definitely feel, I mean, there's a shift now where we're done studying, and
Yeah.
this lifetime is very much about now putting things into practice and plugging other people into this database,
How do you think
which
we
is
do?
just source. How do we do that? I feel like it's important for all of us to become more like public figures.
Scary.
Yeah. And honestly, though, it makes sense because I mean, Pipo is a musician he moved to Australia. Did you know that?
He told me that, but I didn't really sit and think about it. Like he
Yeah,
literally
it's
moved to
crazy.
Australia. Okay.
um, and then with both, I feel like we're all in that
So,
space anyways, you
mhm.
know? And now it's kind of like time to put the ego aside and just say, like, fuck it, you're here to play. Just go.
Publicity scares me, right? I do have this thing where I want to teach people and then run and hide, right? You know what I'm saying? I do want to help, and I actually love helping. I love teaching. I love like we all like kind of do in this space. But then I just want to like do it all behind closed doors. That's kind of like my thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know how possible that is, right? Because it's like with this information, sure, you could start to release it and put it out, but then you're exposing way more of yourself, and you kind of go down that path, and so like maybe just let Amber do it. She's already doing it, right?
Well, we each have our own unique voice for a reason.
Sure.
And this world is yours. Like, you're literally in the fabric of it. Your essence is literally within it, is made up of it.
Hmm.
Everybody, there's just different parts of you, of this like primate brain, but all scattered in like different experiences.
Right.
It's all you. If you saw yourself coming into the public eye, would you be like, oh, fuck that guy? Who the hell is he? No, you'd be like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess so. Yeah. It's easy for you. It's easy for you to say because you're way, you have the public thing going on. So,
But I feel like I had to battle a lot with like, it's like with anybody, you want to control the way you're being perceived. You don't want people to misconstrue what you're saying or misunderstand it or get offended and be like, oh my gosh, that's not what I meant. Or, you know what I'm saying? But then it
yep.
gets to the point where like, there's a lot of work to do and very little time. Got to put that to the side.
Well, you can have fun because, again, as we know, this is probably my last hoorah here, right? This is uh, this is probably a finality for this guy.
It feels like it's meant to be. It feels like this is the time, which is why we're all like here at once, you know?
Mm.
It definitely feels like it.
Can you? I wonder if you're able to like hone in on that. I'm being curious about. Okay, so you got. Let's say this is and I got my hand up in the camera, but I got this is the over. This is the one soul,
Hmm.
and then I know there's a split, and then what happened later. But let's just say it's the three of us, right?
Hmm.
But when you go back when you cross the veil and you die, whatever you want to call it. When we go back to the still, we're on the other side, but let's say we're all left here at the same time. So we're three individual consciousness, right? But still on the other side. But then you still have this one up here. I'm sure these three are aware of the one, and the one is aware of the three.
Hmm.
And I'm wondering, like, does it stay that way, or is there a meld that sort of happens?
I
You know what I'm
feel like
saying?
our souls will meld. People's will be kind of doing his own thing, flying free. There is the ability to, because you're not confined by the body. So you're kind of
Sure.
like present in all layers at all times, you
Mm-hmm.
know? But what I am feeling is I feel our energies connecting, and then I feel his like
Right.
his just feels like this like thin little gold line. Just like woo. Just
Like,
like
literally, like right now, like literally, like on this planet right now.
yeah.
Right? He just Off living his best life somewhere. Okay. I can
I
cook
will
you.
say it'll be, I'm very curious and not, may this not happen soon, but I'm curious
Sure.
what'll happen. Whoever dies first, just feel.
Hey, I'm a lot older than you. Well, no, I'm not a lot older than you. Absolutely not. But I mean, I'm not
You're
afraid of
very
death.
old. No, I'm just kidding. Just
Don't let the
kidding.
grave fool you. I still got a lot. See these pipes, see these muscles right here. I still got a lot of youth over here, right? um, no, I mean, yeah, I am curious about that too. But I think there's no time over there. And I was getting ready to say, here's what can cook. Here's what'll cook your little noodle, right? That means that means that melt has already happened. If
Yeah.
everything is now and everything has already taken place, the melt has already occurred. Therefore, we already are one. But when we leave here, we still have to do the remeld, which is ridiculous because this was already done. See what I'm saying? It's you
Well,
can
I think
never.
it's not, it, the words are a way of understanding, but
Hmm.
it's not so step by step.
Yeah,
There's not a
yeah,
protocol.
yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? It's just like, I don't know what an analogy would be. As you are peeing and the urine just spills from your body
What?
into the toilet water.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a very natural process where it's just like a little bit of the peas in the water, and then at the end of it, it's fully in the water. You know what I'm saying? It's like a
Okay.
gradual thing.
Okay.
So it like leaves your body and slowly becomes the water.
Right. I got you. All right. And just to clarify for people who, again, they may see this for the first time, for loved ones and all that stuff, the merging of our so-called essences, energies, whatever she's describing, is not romantic. Okay, it's not right. Yes, everything is love and blah blah, love and light and all that,
Yeah.
but it's more on an energetic state.
Yeah.
Right? When you pass over, whoever's listening to this, your essence is going to meld with something else. It just
Mm-hmm.
it just is. Not a hierarchy kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what was interesting? um we actually talked to Eric, channeling Eric on Saturday
Oh, cool.
also. And I asked him the question. I said, because in reading his book, which was channeled by Jamie Butler,
Mm-hmm.
he talked about once when he crossed over, not far long after, he still kind of had his human ego and he went to kind of visit God,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he said in his book, he was just like, it was so overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
This experience of meeting God. So I had the question. I said, you know, since there is no hierarchy over there, how does that, like, let's just say you're out on a Sunday stroll in heaven, right? You just go out somewhere and you come across an angel, right? As a soul, do you like, oh my God, that's an angel, right? They have all this other, not like that wow factor. And like, because if there's no hierarchy, there has to be no wow factor. But in our minds, it's still an angel. So
Mm-hmm.
I was relating that to him, kind of even going to God. But what he was saying, what he said was, he said, yeah, he said it's more so when you first cross over,
Yeah.
right? You still have that humanish kind of ego,
Yeah.
you still kind of have that form. So
The full
because
memories haven't fully integrated yet.
exactly, he said, and because of that, he said, when you go, quote unquote, meet source, God, whatever, he said it will absolutely bring you to your knees, right?
Mm.
Because that he said it's overpowering for the human structure that you're still kind of have lingering.
Yeah.
He said, but once you get past that, he said was interesting, and he said you it does feel all more like a meld. And
Mm.
he said, I said, so from your standpoint, do you have to like physically go visit God? Like if you wanted to visit God, have another one of those meetings that you said you did when you first crossed over, do you have to go somewhere to see God, see source? He said, no. He said, because it is you, it is everything. So I was
Yeah.
like, well, what do you, I said, well, explain. So I said, you don't have to go somewhere. He said, no. He said, when you take a breath, do you have to go get air from somewhere? I said, that hit hard. I said, no. He said, no. You just breathe it in and it is there. He said,
Mm.
that is the exact same thing when you are on the other side. Once you kind of let go of everything, it's like taking a breath. Source is right there. It's everywhere. I
Yeah.
said, but it's conscious though, right? He said, yes, it's a conscious living, I guess, whatever you want to call it, being, but it is literally right there. It's hard to explain when you're not, when you're not experiencing it. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Um, and I was saying that's related to what the hell ever we were talking about. I just started to talk. I don't remember what we were talking about, but I just thought that was kind of a cool
Oh, we're
um,
talking about souls melding.
melding, exactly, and that kind of brought back that
Yeah.
thought of him melding back into the essence of
Hmm.
all that is. So yeah, I thought that was kind of a, that can maybe help someone understand what happens when you cross over. It does take a while. Here's another cook your noodle again. It takes a while for your soul to drop the human essence. But if there's no time, how the hell can it take a while? You know what I'm saying? How is that possible? I'm still trying to figure that out because we keep learning about there is no time. There is no time. Time is here. Okay, you get to the other side. Now you still got this human form, right? Sort of. Okay. Now you just told me it takes time to get rid of that. So there actually is a
I
one.
feel like if we haven't fully lost a lot of if we haven't fully lost the human essence,
Yeah.
we haven't fully detached from the confines of time. I feel like that at our core is something that is consistently at the deepest root of how we engage
Okay.
with the world, night and day, development, growing up. That's, getting ready to do something. Like that's just at the deepest root of how we process information.
Okay.
It tends to be in the confines of some sort of progression, some sort of linear thinking. So,
Yeah.
because our brains are still somewhat active in the linear thought, even though we're not physically confined by it, we're almost allowing ourselves to be a little bit because our thoughts are still linear.
Yeah.
Instead of it just being this like, poof, done, here I am, you
Okay.
know, we're stuck in like, oh, I have to process. First, I think about this and then I feel better. And then I think about this. And then, you know what I'm saying?
Mm. Okay. I know exactly what you're saying, and I can't conceptualize anything past the linear question that I that I have, right? Because of what you just said and how I'm feeling right now. So, because my
Mm-hmm.
next question is going to be a linear one, which doesn't apply. My next question was going to be, okay, so let's say once you completely leave the human form, right? It's all gone. Poof,
Mm-hmm.
you're there. Now, you you're taking a stroll in heaven wherever you are, right? And you meet an angel, right? But before you met an angel, you were taking a stroll. So before, get what I'm saying here, you were taking a
Yeah,
stroll,
yeah, I get what you mean.
right?
I feel like
Now you meet an angel. So there was a
I
before. Okay, you go. You get it.
I feel like when you first pass over, the way you go about things is very linear.
Yeah.
After that, it feels almost like being in the ocean in this
Okay.
constant ebb and flow where
Yeah.
things just kind of go this way and go that way and it just keeps moving. How and where and when it moves doesn't matter, it just is. And if you want to move later, quote unquote, you can't. Like it just
Okay.
is.
Just okay.
It's like a plankton in the sea. It doesn't care what time of day. Well, maybe it cares. I don't know. I'm judging it, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. All right, that helps, and hopefully that helps somebody else because it will. If you keep thinking about it, you'll keep going down this. But there has to be something before, right?
Mm.
And maybe not. Just, it's, I'm trying, but yeah, you know. Okay.
This is
Um,
a good talk.
this was. We had you got a hard out right at 5 or 2 o'clock for me, for
In
you.
9 minutes.
Oh, 9 minutes. Okay.
We've got 9 more minutes. If there are any last words you'd like to share.
I had a task, and I'm not sure if we can get it in 9 minutes. Um, but I'm curious on what you can see. It was, of course, it's an ET task because everything about me is ET. It was the ET that was. It took us a long time to get to, through the weird mouth tunnel things and all the that was really far away. That it needed me for a very specific reason, and this was like last year, and it needed my help. I'm not sure if you remember this. It was in
Is
this dome
this
structure.
Yeah, okay, perfect. I wasn't sure if that the memory I was getting through was you or somebody else I had talked to. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember. And it didn't communicate the way we communicate, right? And it was having a hard time like getting information across.
yeah. I have random weird thoughts of that, and I was going to try to see if maybe I've already helped it and didn't know, or if it wanted something. I was just trying to
Mm,
tap back into that.
let me see. I'm seeing the dome. I'm seeing it sitting. I feel like last time we had spoken to it, we were able to kind of figure out a middle ground in terms of communicating, right?
Yeah.
I'm just sharing this too, just for people, so they are like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Right.
Let's see.
Go listen
I'm
to the older
seeing
podcast.
it. I'm feeling this like weird, like those lizards with
Yeah.
these things.
Sea things.
I'm seeing like a collar.
Oh.
Um, it feels more put together. I'm seeing like it looks adorned with items. It feels very different. The energy feels very very accomplished, very successful. So I definitely feel like, yeah, whatever was needed was fulfilled.
No. I wasn't involved.
I feel like you were, because I feel it almost trying to copy your like clothing or something. Like it looks highly up to you. You may have done it astrally, because it's so weird. It's not something that you could have consciously done. It's not weird. It's just different because it's so different from us.
Yeah.
It's nothing you could have consciously done. I'm seeing bookshelves. I don't know what bookshelves are. There's like information or something that you had given it or access to. It
Mm-hmm.
may have just been in connecting to it, because it operates so different. In connecting
Mm-hmm.
to it, it kind of opened up information for it to digest in your like unconscious library.
If you know of, you only knew how sick of this I am, this unconscious astral. You know what I'm saying? I'm just over it. I'm just gonna live my life, Amber, and just
It's so
I,
funny.
I'm not gonna worry about anything else because everything is happening behind the scenes, right? And if I'm not gonna know about it, I'm just not gonna know about it. Just screw it all.
I feel it's so funny. You're always like this. I feel like there's so much, and we've had this conversation before, but
You see, you looking at
there's
my face. See,
so much value in like the astral. There's so much more.
right?
There's if you just start connecting to the astral more, the sensations become a lot more tangible. And then you can remember more and feel more from it. It's like even this weird thing in the beginning where I was going to whatever the hell this was with the doors and the attic
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
all astral, but I'm feeling within it. There's There's a realness to it, not the same as the physical world, but the more that you operate in the astral, the more it becomes real, I guess.
Okay.
You know?
How do I operate in the astral? 30 seconds. I've read enough books on trying to astral project. I'm over it. Okay. And I'm sure a
Let
lot of
me
people
see.
have too. I'm over it.
What are
Sorry.
you over? Just like waiting for some, is it just not real enough, or what's the problem?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm over. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm not over it. I just want to like this. You're not going to show me how it was like, the work. I think I'm over the work. I've been doing this work for over 20 years, right? Meditating, connecting.
I think what's important to understand, though, is this is something very innate to us. Every
Yeah.
night when we sleep, we astral project. You literally astral project to my house.
I know. You told me. I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's something very natural. You don't go to it. You don't try. You don't, it's the same thing as going to source. You just
Yeah.
sit in it and allow it. And any of those little subtle sensations you feel, or those weird little things you see in the side of your eye, or any thing out of the norm, or any subtle little cue, little sparkling in the corner, instead of disregarding it, lean into it and make it something. Make that as important as whatever you're doing right now. The same as if a stranger just walked into your house. You're not just going to be like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Don't care. Don't know what that is. You would be like,
Yeah.
hey, what are you? What's going on?
Right.
And maybe they are mute and can't speak. You don't just say, whatever. No, you
Yeah.
still like find a way to be like, hey, what's going on? You find a way to communicate with it.
Okay. I'll sit and start looking at weird things and sensations, feelings.
I would I would recommend also calling in fairies. They're really good at that because they're in the in between, so they can manifest physically as well as stay energetic.
I'm a little fairy land on my finger right here. Come on, little fairy. Take her bell. All right, I'll take it to heart. Fairies and more
the
work.
thing, the
It's not
thing
work.
that
Let me stop that.
no, it's actually more surrender.
Yes, I'm there. I'm there.
And the thing with it is you can't, it's not going to be physical. You're using a different sense. It's a different way of experiencing. So you can't discount any intuitive sensations or any things in your mind's eye. It's like making your mind's eye information as valid as your physical information. And then it just starts getting stronger.
I know you got to go like right now, but you just brought up something that I was going to ask you. So remember you told me to ground 3 days in a row and all that other day. I've been having issues with my body. I needed to do all that.
Yeah.
So I did it and it was fantastic. I've been feeling something here. Is my third eye trying to open?
Oh, look at you.
I, Look at me, right? Who would have known? But the grounding really, really helped me. But I've
Yeah.
been feeling this tickling on
Uh-huh.
my third eye and like a sensation there.
Uh-huh.
What do you think? Come on, you can
That's what
see it,
it feels.
Amber.
What I'm feeling is almost like it's the way that it's showing itself to me is almost like the eyelashes, like
Hmm.
kind of starting to like flutter open, so it's like the little tickling of it kind of. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
See,
Okay.
perfect timing, perfect way
Perfect
to
time. It's a
end. Look
good
at
way to
this.
end. All right. Another episode done.
Yes, that was a good one.
That was good. Can't wait till it comes out so I can listen and learn all over
Yes.
again. All right. Until next time.
Until next time, thank you.
See you later.
Thank you so much, my friend. This was a really good one, and I learned so much. I definitely feel like I'm going to have to just re listen to it a couple times to fully digest it. If you want to keep in touch with Rashad, keep watching his journey, you can find him on Instagram at Tushar on Earth. The link to that will be in the show notes as always. I am sending you all so much love. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got something out of it. We will be back for another episode next week. Not with Rashad and I. Somebody else. I wish it was Rashad. We will do another soon, but somebody else. All right, my friends. I'll see you then. Thank you so much for listening to Diary of a Psychic Medium with me, Amber Amrine. To learn more about me, my work, and such, you can visit channelwithamber.com or follow me on Instagram at channelwithamber. A special thank you to Unicorn Heads for my theme song, A Mystical Experience. See you next time.